We made over $5 million at our agency with me working just 1 hour per week. Scaling your agency isn't the hard part. The hard part is having to work 10 to 12 hours per day, every single day, only to find yourself in the same place over and over again. That's why in this video, I'm gonna go through step by step how I was able to scale our agency to that level while working myself completely out of the business. Let's get into it. Before we get into it, I wanna just share some photos just for proof, because people like to see the proof of what we've actually been able to do. So here's invoice pay in full. Here's our studio, me filming. Here's our first studio. Here's a screenshot of last 12 months of sales. Here's me spending time with my wife, smashing an Ironman. And for those who know, Ironman training is a lot of time. This is me at our office, our studio, my wife and I in Mexico, and then laying on the beach in Portugal. Hopefully she doesn't get mad at me for showing that photo. But this hasn't just worked for me. We've worked with hundreds of agencies inside of Agency U. These are just screenshots of some of the wins, and we have tons of case studies on our website and on this channel, just showing how we're able to implement the same systems that we were able to implement into other agencies so that they could have a similar result and work their way to a point of being able to actually be a CEO inside of their agency. The thing that I want to iterate first before we get into it is the problem that I see and the problem that I had when I was first starting my agency. So when I was first starting my agency, I thought it was all about like the grind. I was like inspired by Gary Vee. I thought like the more I worked, the more clients I could handle, better entrepreneur, or what I thought at the time was a CEO I would be. But the problem is I started getting clients. I was the only one that was serving them. The problem is I pretty much created a job for myself, because I was the guy who was like, yes, I'll do whatever you want, because I had this fear of our clients leaving. I had the fear of the clients going to somebody else, going to a different agency, and I didn't know how to properly set myself up for success when I was running an agency. So I found myself on this almost like hamster wheel, where I would pretty much like from, again, 4 a to like 9 p.m. just be grinding. I'd be anxious. I pretty much lost my relationship with my girlfriend, who's now my wife, because I just wasn't present. I was just thinking about work, because we literally only have so many hours in a week. And if I'm taking on more hours of work, I begin to cap out on the ability for me to take on any more work and frankly make any more money at our company, which to us was around like that $10,000 to $15,000 per month mark. The real turnaround point for me was I got a mentor who made me realize that a CEO, if I really wanted to build a business, if I really wanted to not just be a freelancer, if I really just didn't want to have a job, then I needed to run my business like a business. And this was like a huge turning point for us that allowed me to really just understand what is it that makes an actual CEO a CEO? What is it that makes a freelancer? And how can I start to make these transitions to become a actual CEO so that I could do more things that I actually enjoyed? And mind you, at this point, I didn't have any hobbies. Like my hobby was pretty much work. My life was consumed by work. And deep down, I knew I didn't want to be that guy who was working all the time, super successful, but was empty, like, and didn't have anything outside of work that filled myself up. Like another realization that I had, just more of like a personal revelation, was like, how is this sustainable? If I'm just working all the time, and even my girlfriend, now wife at the time, like called it out a ton. She was like, this isn't sustainable. Like this isn't how you should run your business. And because I was so caught up in the grind of like the day to day, it was really hard for me to see. And luckily a mentor really brought that to life for me. So the first thing that I realized was, I'm gonna do this, I need to do this right. And the first part of quote unquote doing this right was productizing my offer and building a really strong offer. The foundation of a really solid agency is in fact a solid offer. I was pretty much the bottleneck inside of the agency, because all these things I was saying yes to, it's not realistic for me to productize that. It's not realistic for me to market, and you end up just positioning yourself as frankly the bottleneck inside of your agency, and there's really like no chance at you scaling with being that full service. Maybe there is. I want to preface that, but in my eyes, there's absolutely no chance what I was doing up here was in fact scalable. What I had to realize was I needed to productize my offer. And what this means is we're really just figuring out what is the solution that our company solves. Like what is the one thing that we do really well that we can productize, that I could teach somebody, that I could get off my plate. What a lot of people do, like when they're first starting out, and myself included, I'm putting myself in that category, is like we're almost the vitamin to our clients. Especially a content agency, we're commoditizing ourselves. So we had to realize, how do we make something that's productized, that's results driven, that will actually get our clients results? What we started with was like video, social media management, like coming up up with something really basic because at the time that was like really hot and trendy. But what I want to do is I want to kind of go through basically what I would do right now and what we teach a lot inside of Agency U from an offer perspective. I'll go through more of like the theory of it and how you can apply it to your agency. So the main thing that we want to figure out is who is it that we're serving? What are the pain points of the clients that we're serving? And what is the desired outcome of the customers that we are in fact serving? What we need to realize when we're building our offer is who is our customer, what are their pain points, and what are their outcomes? And all we have to do is figure out how do we solve customers' pain points and get them to the outcome. And then what we want to do is we want to figure out, okay, what are the steps to desired outcome for our ideal customers? So for us, this could be something like, like an onboarding call to like really understand their brand, a strategy call. We're going to plan the content. We're going to shoot the content. We're going to edit, we're going to post, we're going to set up an ad funnel, and we're going to do some basic analytics. Now we have a really clear like marketing message. Let's just use the example of, I don't know, I'm just gonna do like online coaches. So online coaches struggling to get leads, become more known, and build authority. We know from a niche perspective, online coaches, maybe we specify 20K plus a month. That's the who. So that's our ideal customer. And then what we want to think about is what are the pain points of the ideal customer? If you're a content agency, you're probably thinking they want more views, they want to go viral. It's like maybe they might want more views, they might want more awareness, but the root of why they want that is so that they can grow their business, so that they can get leads. So that should be the number one pain point that we aim to solve as agencies, even as a content agency. If you're not doing ads, if you're not actually coming up with a predictable way to get your clients leads, you are going to be in trouble. The other thing is like becoming more known, and they want to build authority. They want to be trusted. They want to have an authority. All we really have to do is help our clients get there and come up with a methodology. So the outcome is pretty much the opposite of the pain points. Come up with a methodology, and we need to become masters at this methodology and come up with these steps of getting our clients to the outcome that they actually want. And the beautiful thing about this is we can then begin to productize this. If you're just starting out, you're probably going to do a lot of the stuff, but you'll be able to see exactly how we can get stuff off of our plate and how I was able to get stuff off of my plate from the perspective of working myself out of the business and making sure that I in fact have A players on our team so that they can do this. And now our offer is positioned as medicine to our clients. Okay, it's not a vitamin, it's not a commodity. It's like your marketing message is very solution oriented. So now you have a little bit more authority in the conversation, which was a huge game changer for us. After we productize our offer, we need to then be able to productize client acquisition for predictability, basically. What I would do a ton is I would go to networking events, I would get coffee with a bunch of people, I would post on my social media, and I was basically the face of the company in hopes that we would get our next referral. And the problem with this is that I was the bottleneck from a client acquisition perspective. And the other problem was it was unpredictable. What I knew I needed to do was I needed to come up with a way to predictably get clients, something that I could turn off and on how we were doing from a fulfillment perspective so that I could, one, keep our team busy, but two, start to predictably get new clients at our agency. For us, like I tried the VSL landing pages, I tried hiring coaches to help me out. I did do cold email, which was successful for us, but there's one funnel that was superior to everything. So what we did from a client acquisition perspective and what I recommend everyone else to give a shot is we basically came up with 3 different ads. This is a traffic ad, so this was a follow ad. So we had an ad basically telling our ideal clients to follow us. This was a DM ad, and then this was also a what we call a DM ad. We have 3 different ads that we are running. We have a follow ad, which is basically saying, hey, if you're an online coach, which we identified in our marketing, doing more than $20,000 a month, and you're struggling to get more leads on social media, you're struggling to become more known, you're struggling to build authority in the space, go ahead and give me a follow here on Instagram where I show online coaches just like you how to predictably get leads, how to become more known in the industry, and how to build authority. Okay, that's just like an example script. And then we have a couple of different formats of DM ads that we want them to do a call to action of a DM us. So DM me more information on how you can blank, call to action, whatever that could be. So we'll run 3 different ads, and where we're driving these ads is to our Instagram. So from this, what we'll begin to get on our Instagram is follows. Guess who's going to follow us if we do an ad that calls out online coaches doing more than $20,000 a month? Online coaches doing more than $20,000 a month. So we're going to get follows, and we're going to get DMs. Guess who's going to DM us? Online coaches doing more than $20,000 a month who want to get more leads, become more known, and build authority. The beautiful thing about ads is that you'll basically get what you put out there. The thing that I love about driving them directly to a follow in an Instagram is because what we're also doing is we're actively building our brand. People work with who they know, like, and trust. We see hundreds of ads every single day, and the way to increase the likelihood of your ads actually working is to build a brand. So because we're building a brand and we're so good at building a brand because we're becoming a client of ourselves and we're posting content and we're doing all that stuff, the trust factor is going to go through the roof. So that's factor number one. The second factor is they're DMing us. We want to make it as frictionless as possible for them to opt into us so that we can begin to have a conversation. Naturally, if somebody opts in, what are they going to do? They're going to check out your Instagram. They're going to see if you're building a brand. They're going to see, do I trust this person? Do I vibe with this person? Is this person actually legit? Are they posting content, educating me? Perfect. If yes, that's a net benefit, which makes this funnel so superior. From Instagram, as we're getting the follows and DMs, all we have to do is we have to appointment set. So what we're doing is people who are following us, people who are DMing us, we're setting appointments inside of the DMs. So what we're able to do is we're able to hire an appointment setter to handle the Instagram. Anybody who opted in, we would have a conversation with them, and we would then aim to opt them in to a sales call. And if we can nail our messaging from our offer, have a really clear message on how we help people, we will begin to attract the right people using a funnel like this. It's not going to work if you're a full service who does website, SEO, videos, social management, all that sort of stuff. It'll work if you have a productized offer, that you have a clear gap essentially of the pain of your customers and the outcome that you can actually provide. If you can crush this in your offer, this will trickle down into your marketing and allow you to get leads on easy mode. I'm telling you, this is exactly what we've been running and has generated 7 figures just with this funnel alone. And this is really the solution to creating that predictability in your business and honestly just peace of mind as you grow and scale. Helped me scale our agency while working a lot less was building out systems, basically productizing our pretty much whole business. So productizing, let's just call it fulfillment for the most part, fulfillment/business. Let's call it that. The beautiful thing, going back to like the offer perspective, is like if I just copy this over, what I can begin to see is I can see here's all these steps that it's going to take to get my client from where they are to where they want to go. Because we already did the legwork of doing that inside of our offer, we already have this laid out. We're pretty much ready to rock. How we want to look at this is who can I have help me out with the onboarding? Who can I have help me with the strategy call? Who can I have plan the content? Who can I have shoot the content? Who can I have edit the content? Who can I have post the content? Who can I have run the ad funnel? Who can I have help create analytics? I'm looking at my offer not from the perspective of me doing everything, but a team doing everything. This allows us to see our offer as basically the system running the business and people running the systems. That's part one. The second part is how do I set each person up for success as it pertains to onboarding, planning the content? And this becomes basically the process of you writing SOPs. From our offer, we have who is going to do the steps potentially later down the road. How do I make sure that they're set up for success? You document how you're doing each thing in the form of an SOP, a standard operating procedure. Then the third real part of it is we need to basically build a system for each pillar. And for us, what we did is we basically built out a whole operating system inside of a tool called Notion. So now every time we get a client, we onboard them and we add them to our client directory. So how this basically looks is what we call a fulfillment funnel. So we have a fulfillment funnel that from A to Z, we will productize the moment a client joins. We will create tasks for every single thing. We'll label who's the strategist, when we're going to shoot the video, where we're going to edit the video, when the due date is, who's going to post it, when we're going to post it. And what we're able to do with the fulfillment funnel is we can create views for each one of our team members where we can see this editor's going to edit these videos on these days, and they're going to be due on these specific days because that's when we need to do it. We can also create a view for, call it a social media manager. This is when you need to post the specific video, and we can pop in here and we can see the content, we can see the caption, we can see the concept, and this is all templatized. We're basically creating a system based off of our offer, and we're assigning who actually wants to do it. Our first hires were basically, we had a videographer. So what we did is we created a view for the videographer, invited them to this view so that they could see what they're shooting on a specific, and if we pop this open, we can actually see the content of the video of what's actually going to be shot for that specific day and assign it to a specific videographer. We also hired editors right off the jump. We can see the editor view. We can see all things, the raw footage. We can see the concept, all that sort of stuff as it pertains to the editors. Sweet. the posting. We hired a social media manager and we created a view for the social media manager that links up to the fulfillment funnel where they can see this is what you have to post on this specific date. Here's the caption, and you can see everything inside of the operating system, which is a freaking game changer. Ad funnel. We created an SOP for the ad funnel. And I slowly started to get stuff off my plate. The lowest hanging fruit for us was for sure editor and a social media manager. And the social media manager could actually also help out with the ad funnel and also conduct the analytics and create analytics every single month for us and for our clients. So that really left us with a high level position of somebody who would be planning, doing the strategy and onboarding. That was probably the last hire that we made. For us, we call that a creative strategist. And the reason that I was able to hire efficiently is one, I knew how much time this is going to take and how much I could actually afford. Same thing with the editors, how much time each edit's going to take. I could hold them really accountable. I could have a really strong margin because I was really clear on how much time the editor should expect to take. Same thing with the social media managers. We actually hired these overseas, basically two of these people, the social media manager and editor. It was really efficient for us and really provided us strong margins. But the reason we were able to do that is because we had good systems in place to actually train somebody on how to do it. The next real hire that we needed to hire for was the creative strategist, which over time, as we got more clients, as I was more busy doing the sales, then that's when I was like, okay, cool. Now I can finally have enough profit inside of our agency so that I could hire somebody to come and replace me from a strategist perspective. And that's where we plugged in the creative strategist who had a capacity of 20, 30 clients that they could then manage. And that gets removed off of my plate. So I'm no longer doing the strategy, the planning, or any of the onboarding stuff, which made it a complete game changer. From a system perspective, we just need to productize our fulfillment and productize our business. Some key systems that we implemented was, like a really automated onboarding system and so much more. And the fulfillment system has been a complete game changer for us, which has been absolutely huge. The other thing that we included in Notion was like the sales stuff. So if we look at the sales, now we just need a lead system. So how are we tracking the leads? And then we needed a booked call system. I knew that I'm not going to be the one that's going to be like managing all the leads, and like I need to know how many leads I'm getting, what my cost per lead is, all that sort of stuff. So we basically developed a way that with this funnel, we can see all of our leads, we can see our cost per lead, we can see how many leads, we can see what word they're opting in for, all that sort of stuff. And then a CRM as well, which can be a Notion, but we also use Go High Level for that as well. We then had a system. So like, for example, like the sales system, we pretty much have a methodology where we can see where all the leads are going. So any lead that we get gets added here. And then we can also see the CRM inside of Notion where we can see any booked call gets added here. So now I have visibility, and eventually what I can do is I can hire a team to handle this. If I pop this open, I can see the structure of the actual sales call so that when I am doing the sales call, I am just following the design that I'm setting up for myself. Over time, we were able to hire an appointment setter to get the lead system off of my plate, then a closer to get the book call system off of or to get the booked call like workflow off of my plate. But this was a result of a really solid offer, predictable client acquisition, and productizing our business and productizing our fulfillment. So the last real thing is hiring. So after we nail these things, like maybe you're at a point where like you're doing half of the offer, whatever it could be. Like I still built our business when we were scaling with the mindset of eventually I'm going to get everything off of my plate. So I need to start running my business like I'm going to get everything off of my plate. And that really stemmed from, I need to build the systems, I need to build the SOPs for everything. And then I need to find the people to actually do it. Is we created what's called a talent acquisition funnel. What I see a lot is people will start scaling their agency and they'll get really busy and they'll hire somebody and it'll just suck up a lot of their time, or they'll be frustrated, or they'll like basically want to take control over everything. And I was that guy as well. And the problem is like, one, you're never going to like build a team if you're keen on taking control of absolutely everything inside of the agency, because you'll never be able to replace yourself essentially. Another thing that I see is people will basically hire too quick. They'll hire thinking that just by hiring somebody or plugging someone into a seat, it's going to be their saving grace. So what we did is we created what's called a talent acquisition funnel. So basically the talent acquisition funnel is pretty simple, a simple process. So first things first is we'll create like a job description. So on the job description, it's not just like, oh, we want you to edit videos. It's like, no, like we want roles, responsibilities, and KPIs. So the most important thing on the job description are the KPIs. What does success actually look like in this role? So after the job description, then we create what's called an intake form. So on the intake form, what we're asking is basic questions as it pertains to the role. Because if you've ever hired, you know how draining it can be. Instead of having you go through all these resumes and all that sort of stuff, we drive traffic from the job posting to the intake form.
In the intake form, like let's just say you're hiring a videographer. Tell me about what types of shoots you've been doing, what kind of videos have you been shooting, what is your goal? Are you looking to like pursue freelance? Are you looking to be on a team? Like that sort of stuff. What are your salary expectations, etc., etc. And then it becomes posting the job. So basically we'll post the job absolutely everywhere, and that can be depending on the role, Indeed, onlinejobs.ph, whatever it could be. And when we post it, we are driving traffic to the intake form. To be considered for this job, you must fill out the intake form. That is the goal there. After we post the job, what we are then doing is we are going through intake form. We're not going through the resumes. We're not setting up a bunch of interviews. We are going through the intake forms because the intake forms will shortcut it. Then after the intake form, what we're having them do is we're having them send a Loom video. So we're going to pick the top 5, top 10 candidates and say, hey, shoot us over a Loom video explaining why you think you're fit for this role and why you're really excited to join our company, whatever it could be. Now that dwindles it down even more without having to jump on hours of interviews, sort through tons of resumes, all that sort of stuff. After you get the Loom videos, your candidate pool should be pretty slim. That would be when you decide to do an interview. And on the interview, you ask some basic interview questions, basically make a decision, then do what we call a 30-day trial. So after interview 1, you should be pretty clear. Depending on the role, if you want to do another interview, you can throw another interview in there. But when you do make a decision, what we're doing is we're basically saying, hey, this is gonna be a 30-day trial, because so many times when we've hired people and then like 15 days and we're like, oh, this person isn't gonna work out. This person is not gonna be a fit. And the problem was they assumed that they had this like cush job. We didn't set the expectation, okay, cool. The first 30 days, the first 90 days, however you want to do it, is going to be tests and making sure that we're fit for each other, and we're going to review after the 30 days if this is going to be a long-term position for you. So that is what we call the talent acquisition funnel. So this is how you get the A player talent. And furthermore, what we were able to do from this is like we can start to map out what our actual org structure looks like and what we can build to. So for us, what we did is we had a creative strategist, we had a videographer, we had a video editor, we had a social media manager. So this is like the fulfillment team. We had a sales team as well, appointment setters, basically like appointment setter, have a closer. Also, from like an ops perspective, we had ops, basically like a ops manager, head of operations, client success manager, and then have a creative director. This is what our team grew to. And this was basically me not having to do any of the fulfillment because the ops manager managed the fulfillment. I would manage the sales team for the most part, but because we productized it and I taught the appointment setters and the closers how to set this up, how to manage everything, I would oversee a little bit of it, but for the most part, that was my main role, and it wasn't even like in the business necessarily. It was just overseeing the team. Ops would manage the CSM as well as the fulfillment, and then creative director would manage the creative fulfillment as well as the marketing for our actual company and make sure that we're actually getting stuff done. So with the same system that I showed you, this built this org chart, which allowed us to then scale to $200,000 plus a month, over $5 million in sales in the agency, and really with me working myself out of it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you like this video, if you like this breakdown, give it a thumbs up. And if you are an agency owner and you're looking to become a CEO and implement these same systems inside of your agency, you can click the link down below to learn more about how we can help you. If not, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. I try to just really give it all away so that you guys can implement and make more money using the systems that we teach. Thanks so much for watching. We will see you on the next one.